I made pizza.
Oh, that's great. I'm starving.
We're just in time for the new episode of The Stan Show.
Ow, geez, not that crap again.
And we're on. We are back on. Look, I'm going to put my on-air sign there. There we go. How you doing, Courtney?
I'm doing okay.
I don't think you are.
Just okay, though. I'm not great. Not great. You heard about the Saharan African dust we have and the perfect storm with our Canadian wildfire smoke?
I did hear about the Sahara storm, but it didn't look like it was hitting North Carolina. It looked like it was staying down in Florida and part of Georgia, and that was about it.
Interesting. I'm attributing this to that.
Okay, so you've got a little bit of a head thing going on, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Told you could have postponed. We could do this tomorrow if you want.
I'm not going to sound any better tomorrow.
All right. Well, there is that. Well, man, what a time we're having. What a weird time we live in, isn't it? There's so much going on.
A lot of things going on.
So much going on. Just crazy time. And I mean, I had a great weekend. Lots of fun stuff going on. There was Saturday night. There was a great band at Bryson City Brewing.
Oh, nice.
They were called Mile High. Very, very good. Now, I'm an old man who sometimes gets up at 4:30 in the morning, so I can't stay up that late anymore. But we watched the whole first set down there, and they played quite a while. A lot of bands around here only play for 45 minutes, so they take a break. These guys played for like an hour and 5 and then took a break. Very, very good. Great stuff. Very wide range of musical styles they play, but coolest thing was their harmonies. They had 4-part harmony that was just stellar. Nice. Really, really good. So when they did like Seven Bridges Road, Eagles, and you know how the harmony on that is just, and they nailed it. It was really, really good. I enjoyed it very much.
Very good.
Yeah, very, very cool. So that happened. Sunday, went down and sang again at Bryson City Brewing. Did a few songs down there with Tommy and Taylor. They call themselves Fall Spring. They're a duo, and she is with child, his child, and I'm not sure when the blessed event is, but she's definitely showing. Anyway, we had a good time, and Ed, my friend Ed, met us down there, and my son and his girl showed up, granddaughter and all. So it was fun. There's a little girl who comes to that every week. Her name is Michaela, and she sings the same couple of songs every. She's probably 8 years old.
That's pretty impressive, though.
She gets up and sings, and it's cute. She does an Alanis Morissette song. She does that One Hand in My Pocket song. And it's just as cute as it can be. I recommend you all go down there and check it out. That's a 6:30 every Sunday at Bryson City Brewing for open mic night.
Nice.
And so when I got up, I decided to do an Alanis Morissette song, too.
Oh, right on. Right on. How'd that go?
Well, it's real high. It's real high for me, but it was fun. We had a good time. I did Ironic, which is not ironic at all.
No.
There's nothing in there that's irony, unfortunately, for Alanis Morissette. But
that whole word gets misused frequently.
Maybe it could have been a lot more of an enduring song if it had those examples that she gave had been actual irony.
Yeah.
But no.
Oh, well.
Crazy times. Anyway, so good times. And then I learned when I got home last night and turned on the TV, I learned that there had been just an absolutely awful kind of terror attack in Boulder, Colorado, where let me get this guy up on the screen here. Yeah, this dirtbag right here. His name is Mohammed something Solomon. Mohammed Subri Solomon, I think is his name. And what had happened was there was a group of people that were kind of demonstrating. They weren't protesting. They were just demonstrating. They were Jews, and they were demonstrating in regard to Israeli hostages still being held by Hamas. And this man put himself together a makeshift flamethrower and started setting them on fire. And 8 people were injured, a couple of them very severely injured, and he was yelling, "Free Palestine." And it turns out that he is an illegal alien immigrant. Yeah. So Just chalk another one up to the illegals
Just
hurting
chalking-
everyday Americans. Yep.
The world is falling into what the heck is going on?
I saw
What
this.
the heck?
And I saw this dumbass congresswoman made a TikTok video this weekend. Can't even remember her name or where she's from, but she's just on there crying about what's happening to the migrants. Yeah, I don't know if you heard, but the Supreme Court, it gave Trump a major victory the last couple of days, saying that he can go ahead and deport. There was like about 550,000 that had been flown in by the Biden administration, flown in on airplanes and then redistributed out throughout the United States. Now, these were not illegal border crossers. They were actually flown in and then given some sort of parole so that they could go out and live in the United States. Well, the parole's been revoked. And the Supreme Court held that up and said, you can send them out. So that's happening. And this stupid congresswoman just crying and pleading. Of course, she got destroyed on X with all the comments about this woman cares more about these illegal aliens than she does about the Americans who voted her into office. I agree with that. I can't disagree with that. So many attacks, especially on women, so much. And when it was happened during the Biden administration, he never contacted these people and said, we're so sorry, or can we help out in any way? Silence, stone cold silence. But as we know now, Biden was completely out of it for like all 4 years. He was completely out of it and not in charge of anything.
No, he was a puppet the whole time.
Well, now we know that it was his wife's advisor who was running everything. Anthony Bernal, that's his name. Apparently, he was running the White House.
Oh, well, it's been a whole fiasco of a mess. And I'm still a firm believer that politics on both sides are,
There's no question. There's
it's
corruption
all a
everywhere.
game. Yeah, there's
corruption everywhere.
So much.
Yeah. We talk about, what Doge did,
But
none of that has been codified in the Congress, and you got one congressman who's trying to get it up for a vote. So we'll see what happens there.
I understand we have to operate on the world market. That's just how it has went. That's where we're at. We're a global economy, etc. But our first priority with our tax dollars should be localized to where those tax dollars are collected. On your city, those city dollars should be within that municipality. Within the county, your tax dollars should go into bettering your county. State, they should go into bettering your state. And the same with the country. We don't need to be bettering billionaires. I see the benefit of foreign exchange students. I see that as a way to move forward because we have become such a global economy. But this just open borders and flying people in, and that's absurd. That's absolutely absurd.
I don't want to harp on Democrats, but Democrats are at their lowest approval rating like ever in the history of the Democrat Party. And when I see the garbage that some of these pundits post on X, and now these are people that everybody on X knows, just because, and they're not famous people other than what they do on X. The Krasenstein brothers, and this other guy, Harry Sisson, he's like 22 years old or something like that. He's still wet behind the ears. And he, they posted, they're starting to call Trump Taco. You know what that is?
No.
It stands for Trump always chickens out, and which makes no sense on its surface until you kind of dig into what are they talking about? What are they talking about? Trump always chickens out. And they're talking about because he's going back and forth with the tariffs, but it's a deal-making thing, and he's the guy who wrote The Art of the Deal, and this is what he does. Calls it the weave. You got it. There's checks and balances in deal-making. Mm-hmm. We'll do this, you do that. Let's renegotiate. That's the way they're calling it. Him chickening out because, well, come on, you can't have a sustainable 149% tariff on China goods. You can't. It's not sustainable. So it's a starting point, and then there's back and forth, and eventually we'll make a deal. And they are equating that to Trump, drawing a line and saying, this is what it's going to be, and then chickening out. But that's just not what it is. What it is deal making and the process. It's all a process. But they go off on these things, and then they all cheer each other on. Taco, taco, taco. They put up banners. They're making me, of course, the left can't meme anyway. They're never funny. But they're never funny. But yeah, it absolutely drives me nuts. We have more important things to worry about right now.
Why do you let that get you riled up, though?
Oh, I'm not riled up.
Do you know what I used to do? Intentionally? Squirrel.
What?
I know. Listen. So this very smart man told me that I needed to work on my anger management. And that doesn't mean like going to a class or something silly like that, because that doesn't work. So I would intentionally turn Nancy Pelosi on when I was like driving. And I would be so furious and that was the mental exercise, was to get that worked up and then just turn it off. And I would have to snap back to not, being angry. So it was to learn how to control that anger. But Nancy Pelosi,
was there any deep breathing exercises involved in that?
That was a whole nother class. That was an official court ordered class.
Well, the reason I brought it up is because what happened when they had a press conference in the Oval Office with Elon Musk saying that I'm going back to Texas now or wherever, and a lot of again, Democrats started posting on X that it was, the end of Doge. It's the end. And it was miserable failure and all this stuff. It's not the end of Doge at all. In fact, those people are still in place doing what they do.
I thought so,
And not only that, Supreme Court issued that they could, no, it wasn't Supreme Court, it was another court, issued that they could go into the Treasury.
Oh, wow.
Because that's been like, taboo,
Yeah.
you can't do that. But apparently they're going to go into the United States Treasury and start taking inventory.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? I think that's cool.
Well, we'll see.
What are they going to do when there's nothing there?
Oh, well, there's that. Which brings up another point we got to cover in a minute. But
I hope they have body cams. Live stream. Live it.
well, anyway,
Sorry.
the reporter, during that press conference, they love to change the subject. They never ask questions about what they're there for. They always change the subject. And this reporter, he takes the question from her and she says, so-and-so is calling you a taco. Trump always chickens out. And he makes a face. He goes, that's a horrible question. That's terrible. You're not even a good reporter. You're a horrible reporter. And he says, no more from you. And he moves on to somebody else. I have a feeling he hadn't even heard about it. He didn't even know what it was all about yet.
He don't care.
But why?
These little 20-something-year-olds are going to call me names.
Yeah.
Haters make me famous.
It was like
Call me more
when
names.
when he had the South African president in there, and he wanted to go off on the genocide stuff of the white farmers, and it was a heavy moment. And these reporters, they need to read the room and figure out what questions they're going to ask. And then the guy pipes up, well, what about the plane from Qatar? And he's like, where are you from? NBC.
Squirrel.
No more. You don't get your terrible reporter. No more questions for you. Of course, then the left starts going off about how he insulted this reporter. Well, they do it all the time. Anyway,
Whatever.
So,
People are soft.
But again, we have bigger things to worry about right now.
Good times have made for some real soft people.
I like to go online and try to find the news items that are not being reported in the mainstream media.
Right.
And we hear rumblings and saber rattling all over the world right now. And people are starting to gear up, it looks like, for World War III, which will probably last about 10 minutes. And it could very easily be the end of humankind on this planet. At least a great reduction. You've got Germany now. Germany, who was two-time losers as far as world wars go. And they are now ratcheting it up and saying we're preparing for war. China has, my goodness, the things that they have come up with are absolutely scary. They now have a giant aircraft that can fly over and release thousands of armed drones. Thousands of them.
And they have the technology also to specifically target DNA. Did you know that?
In what way can they target DNA?
Like their drones, they can specifically hunt out particular age groups
I
and
see.
races.
Oh, I see. Or an individual.
Or an individual.
Sure.
They can get, very, very high level technology that you could just very well be walking down the street, no clue, and all 20 to 30-year-old males done because the drones fell out of the mothership.
Well,
And it ain't aliens.
I think that along with Germany and China, all just ramping it up towards war, you've got Russia and Ukraine attacking each other yet again on the eve of peace talks, which it's becoming clear that neither one of them want peace.
No. It's profitable to be at war.
Well, it's profitable to the military-industrial complex, yes.
Yeah.
And along with the military-industrial complex, things are actually going into the pockets of these world leaders who are, the money goes to making the bombs, and those people kick back money to the politicians, and it's been that way from time immemorial, and we were warned about it from President Eisenhower when he was making his exit. And it just all proves to be true. What do you think?
Yeah. I agree. I think we got some very shadowy covertness going on.
Speaking of covertness, we've been hearing about secret plans by deep black projects to try to completely bamboozle the American public. We're talking about a fake rapture with
Project Blue Beam.
Jesus Christ appearing in the sky. Have you heard about that one?
Yeah, Project Bluebeam.
Blue Beam has to do with alien attacks.
Yes, but they can project whatever into the skies,
Well,
kind of like that. And
well,
do
it
you
used to, to do these holograms, you used to have to be able to project it onto something, like a pane of glass, or even you could even project it onto like a vapor thing and all that. Well, they've gone beyond that now, and I have seen things where things appeared out of nothing, and there was no vapor, there was no glass, there was no nothing. And I remember one show, it was in Europe somewhere, it was a big stadium show, and they had whales in the sky. There were freaking whales swimming in the sky, and they were like, wow, almost so you could reach out and touch them, and that was all holographic. But they're saying that you, depending on your deity, like it could be Jesus Christ appearing in the sky, it could be Muhammad, it could be Buddha, whatever. And faking a religious experience, for what reason, I'm not exactly sure.
control. If you control what people think is going to happen after they die, you control them in this reality.
So Jesus appears and says something like, put your faith in the government and not in God?
I mean, that's pretty...
What are they going to do?
Look at that. None of you raptured out.
Right. And then we're also talking about a false flag alien attack event. All right.
Yeah, because if it's us against them, we're not going to turn on our leaders, right?
Yeah.
We need them to save us from the aliens.
Well, going off on the alien thing just a little bit, I've been learning some things that people have been talking about for years now. You know who Lou Elizondo is? He was CIA, and he was put in charge of the ATIP program, which was an intelligence gathering program to gather intelligence about all the latest and greatest UFO stuff. And they did that for several years. They put out a report. Lou was not in charge of it, but he was part of it. But I guess the project leader of that put out a report basically, none of this is real. So, and then you also had videos that came out, the gimbal video, the Go Fast video, where we saw the Tic Tacs flying around, and that those have been recorded way back in. Those are like 15 years old now, and we didn't see them until much later. But from what a lot of these UFO experts have been talking about, including government people and CIA people, I remember Lou Elizondo said back in 2022, he said, they're coming. What do you do? He said, well, in 2022, he said, get yourself a hobby for 5 years, because that's about all we got left, which would be 2027. And others have reiterated that same kind of thing. And we've also heard from people saying that the Groom Lake facility, Area 51, S4, Site 4, and all these places where they have super secret, dark, black projects going on, is that they're saying that they have technology there that rivals Star Trek. And said, if you knew what we had, you wouldn't be afraid of any World War III or anything like that. Now, no idea, absolutely no idea. But I've heard lots of stuff thrown around concept-wise as far as time travel, as far as light speed, warp speeds and things like that, anti-gravity, teleportation, like Star Trek. Beam me up, Scotty. That we've got all of that. I can't remember which CEO it was for one of these, Northrop Grumman or Lockheed Martin, one of them. When he was on his way out, he gave a speech, and he'd mentioned something about, we have the technology now to send ET back home.
Oh, I want to say I heard that. I do think I heard that one.
Pretty crazy. So there's much we don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so much we don't know, and we'll probably never know. We're never going to know the lowdown on the JFK assassination. We're never going to know it. Although now they had one guy testify in front of Congress saying that there were 3 bullets, 2 coming in from the front, and then the Oswald bullet coming in from the Oswald. Was that his name? Yeah, coming in from the back, and just he said.
I thought we saw the video where it was the driver.
Oh no! Well, that's I think that one's been thoroughly debunked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I know what you're talking. You're talking about the one that had been doctored, the film that had been doctored, that showed actually the driver of the limousine turning around and firing a bullet into Kennedy's head.
That's right.
Yeah, I think that's been thoroughly debunked.
Oh, interesting.
But
But we still know that the original video was doctored somehow because of the floating tree in the background.
Yeah. Yep, there's so much going on. And then last week, Google comes out with their latest generative AI video program, and basically we've just about arrived.
Yeah.
Because it can talk now. You put in your prompt for the video you want to make, and then you can put the talking parts in there. Say you have a man and a woman talking to each other. He says la la, she says la la, and it comes out, and it's unbelievable. It's right there, done in front of you, and like in a 10-second clip, and and if they can do a 10-second clip now just for you and me, well, think about that.
They can do whole days.
What else do they have? This is just what they're showing us.
Right.
This is just what they're showing us.
I know.
So we can't trust any video anymore because I've seen what they can do, and you can even tell it to make it look like a mobile phone recording, and with bad audio, you can tell it this, and it'll come out looking like that. Shaky cam, you can just tell it whatever, and it will make that, and it's good. It's really good. We can't trust our eyes anymore at all, either on the computer screen, our phone screens, or in the sky. We can't trust our eyes anymore.
It's unfortunate.
It just seems like the most elitist oligarchy kind of people in the world are just wanting to subjugate us all, to take us all into servitude and slavery and own everything, and we own nothing. And plus, along with that, reducing, the surplus population, as Scrooge used to say. It's scary stuff. It's very scary stuff, but I believe we're much closer to that now than we were 10 years ago. Much closer to that.
Exponentially, yes.
Especially with the speed at which AI is developing, which is amazing. It's like every year is 10 times what the last year was.
Welcome to 1984.
Which they were off by a little. George Orwell was off a little bit on that prediction, but just think about it. The really big AI stuff, the big core, major chunk of what's been going on in AI, it's only been about 3 years.
Right, yeah.
About
Something
3
like
years.
that. Mm-hmm.
I first started seeing generative video. It started with Will Smith eating spaghetti. Did you ever see that?
Yep.
It was so bad.
Terrible.
It was so bad. Well, now they're doing Will Smith eating spaghetti because it's like the benchmark.
Right.
So, and now it looks really good. In fact, one person did it with Will Smith eating spaghetti, and sitting next to him is Queen Elizabeth, the late Queen Elizabeth, with a crown on her, just enjoying watching him eating spaghetti. But you got a bunch of different services that can do that stuff for you. But Google has now, with their Gemini, they call it Google AI Pro, which has what's the name? Flow. It's called Flow. FLOW, Flow. You go to the website and you can put in your prompt and it'll spit out a 8-second video for you with people talking to each other. And the samples I've seen are insane.
I know.
Straight out of cinema. I mean, straight out of movies, it look like. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
TikTok offered, I updated TikTok yesterday for the first time and ever and uploaded all my coffee videos to it.
I don't have TikTok.
I've got one of those phones that still had it on there.
Yeah.
So somebody had mentioned I went ahead and I was like, okay, fine. So I uploaded all my Coffee Corbin videos to TikTok. And it offered to take still pictures and turn them into moving videos.
Yeah.
And so I went ahead and did that. And it came out as a cartoon. It wasn't.
Well, you can tell it. You can tell it how the style of what you want, unless that's just what they're doing. If
Yeah,
they're
I didn't
doing
even
the
play with it. I just said, okay, go ahead and motion this one.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, turn that off. But that's interesting that you say that because I just found that yesterday.
Yeah, well, a lot of services are getting into the game now. A lot of them are.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to see it. I know that Facebook looks like they're working with Gemini, which is Google. The Ask Anything that's at the top of the Facebook thing now. And I was just looking, I was in the messenger and I was just looking for somebody. I was trying to look somebody up that I hadn't messaged in a while. And the only thing at the top for searching was that thing that said Ask Anything, and I put the name in, and then it gave me some gobbledygook, like I was doing a web search or something. Which, no, I just want to find the person in my messenger list. Dang it!
Yes, it's very frustrating. I don't like it either.
Now I use Grok, which is Elon Musk's version of ChatGPT. Mm-hmm. You know, he was a big investor in ChatGPT, and then he kind of got forced out by Sam, what's his name, who Musk says is the devil. But so I use Grok a lot because I go on X and just see what everybody's talking about. And Grok writes my scripts for my other channel, my horror and sci-fi fun facts channel. It writes my scripts for me.
That's pretty cool.
I just go in there. I say, do you know any fun facts about so-and-so movie from 1968? And I get a list of 10 fun facts.
Nice.
And I just use that almost verbatim as my script. Sometimes things are written in a certain way that you wouldn't say it. Mm-hmm. So I go in and change those so it just sounds more natural, more of a natural speaking style. But yeah, I've done a whole bunch of those now. I got a bunch of those up there.
Nice.
Not so much in the last couple of weeks. I had a house guest here for a while, sleeping here in the studio, so I couldn't really work up here.
That's right.
But anyway, so I'm not getting the response I want from these videos, so I'm not sure I'm going to do it much longer. They say it takes years to build up. Here's the thing: is I need to be making music in here.
Yeah.
And
Y'all start sharing my silly little coffee videos, though, with your friends. I mean, I don't care if you don't like me. Just share the videos, okay? You know they're funny.
They are funny, and your alter ego, Corbin, very enjoyable.
He's hilarious.
Very enjoyable. Great stuff. Very, very good. And I keep hoping you'll do more and more of that because it's a great character. And it's a lot of fun. It's hard to come up with material sometimes. It's something that you think is just going to strike people's funny bone. It's a little difficult sometimes. It's hit and miss. Yeah. But he's a great character. I like him a lot.
I got to pull another one out of there, too.
Say what?
I have to pull another one out. I have another alter ego, I'm sure.
Oh, does this one have a name?
I think her name is Colleen.
Colleen?
I think so. I have to make sure that's okay with my friend.
Are you doing a parody of your friend?
No, she is such a classy, elegant lady, and she just retired. It's her first actual full week of retirement.
Speaking of retired,
yeah,
yesterday was my 2-year anniversary of retiring.
High five.
And
Yes.
It was my 2 year. It was our 2 year. Myself, and my wife Karen. Karen with a C, by the way,
Yes,
and 2 R's.
because she's caring.
Well, it was because it's half of Carol and half of Warren, her mother and father.
But she's also very caring.
Well, anyway, so yesterday was 2 years since we moved into this house.
Nice.
2 years since we left St. Petersburg, and for about the 100th time drove up here 10 hours. But it was the last time for me. Now, I've been home twice since then. I call it home. It's not home. This is my home.
I'm so glad that you guys are here.
This is my home. I'm so glad to be here. You have no idea.
It's like a little piece of paradise.
I'm supposed to go back for my 50th high school reunion in August.
You can't say no to that.
Oh, I can, and I will. Yeah. But I have to go to St. Pete in August anyway, because my old boss, my old friend and mentor, Lowell Lytle, who passed away a couple of weeks ago, his celebration of life is in August, and I know they're expecting people to fly in from all over the country for that.
Nice.
Just like they did for the reunion several years ago. We had a Young American Showcase reunion a few years ago, and that was insane. That was so much fun. Anyway, so I don't know. I don't know if I can combine the two, because I think they're a couple of weeks apart, but
I mean, I still live here in the same hometown as everybody I went to high school with. I wouldn't go to my reunion if we had one.
you wouldn't?
No, I wouldn't. I think they actually were going to have one.
Like at 25 or?
I don't even remember. It was only yesterday, but it was a whole 5 or 6 lifetimes ago that I was in high school.
Yeah. Well, you graduated 81?
No, I was born in 81.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, I knew that.
I
knew
didn't
that.
graduate. It would have been 99, I believe. Yeah.
99.
No, there was
So,
a whole group got together and they were going to have the high school reunion.
It would have been 25 years last year.
I don't think it was last year. It was a couple years ago.
Oh.
But they didn't invite everybody that graduated together. And so I did invite everybody else. We were going to crash it in our prom dresses and barefoot. And they moved it to a private location.
Oh, wow.
I don't care. I think it's funny.
Well, I was also thinking about crashing the 50th if I'm down there. By crashing, I mean they want to charge money for each event, which is like we're meeting at this restaurant or we're meeting at this for this happy hour or whatever. And they want to charge for each event. And I'm like, okay.
No, I don't need to pay to
No,
hang out with people that
I
I'm
mean,
trying to get away from.
If they're going to have something at a hotel or a restaurant or something, I figure I can just show up and sit at the bar. If anybody wants to say hello, they can come on over.
That's very true.
So we'll see what happens. I don't know. Maybe they have private rooms set up and all that stuff. That doesn't matter. I can still sit outside in the bar and catch people on their way in or on their way out. There's not many I want to see, but there's a few. And some of the ones that I palled around with, there's no way in hell they're going to that reunion. I guarantee
there's
you.
that. I went to Swain Academy's graduation yesterday at the Fine Arts Center, and that was a very beautiful ceremony.
They had it on a Sunday,
They had it on Sunday at 2:30 in the afternoon.
and your boy walked, didn't he?
No, my son graduated Thursday night.
Oh,
during
Thursday night. Oh, you're talking
during-
about Swain Academy.
Yes,
Yeah.
I went. It was so nice.
How many?
Everybody
How
was
many walked? Just about like 11,
10 or 11.
10 or 11 walked. Yeah,
They had a nice slideshow.
should have been a short ceremony, I guess.
It was, listen, y'all crucify me if you want to. The Thursday night one was miserable for everybody because of the rain, because of the length and the BS included with the principal's speech on her way out. And I had a running commentary in my section that everybody in my section was cracking up. We had a good time. No disrespect to my son who graduated, none whatsoever, or any of the other students that graduated. That was a terrible ceremony again this year. The academy was wonderful. Those kids had a good time. Their family was engaging. One young gentleman got to bring his 2-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
You know, it was just lovely.
Well, that sounds great.
It was very lovely.
Yeah.
And the thing that struck me the most, there is Mrs. Smiley, and every child that graduated, every one of these students stopped and hugged this woman. You could tell that, and I know her, Miss Smiley. I remember all the way back. She was an assistant.
She a teacher?
She is. She was my assistant cheerleading coach hundreds of years ago.
Wow.
But she's made an impact on these kids. You could tell from the interaction. And that just was the most beautiful thing about the whole ceremony.
It seems like you're getting a little emotional about it.
It was. I love her. And it was so nice seeing how impactful she's been
Sure.
on those kids.
Well, I'd love to say that about some of my high school teachers, but they're all gone now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd be in their like over 100 years old. But my voice teacher, Miss Clark, she was a doll. She was just so sweet, so nice. And I knew her son, who was in my class, Tommy Tucker. And there was my band director, who I'm sure has been dead for centuries, decades. Yeah, Mr. Nicholson. He had high aspirations about making us like a really kick-ass marching band. And it was fun. We had a great time. We really did. And he was a tough one. He was real hard on us, and especially on the people who were slackers.
Yeah.
And Paul T. Nicholson, man, wow. It was a big inspiration. And he did some great things for us. He brought the Stan Kenton Orchestra in with big band from the big band era. Mm-hmm. They brought the Stan Kenton Orchestra in, and they did music clinics with all of us in the band. They did a big show at night where the whole city bought tickets to come and see that in the auditorium. And I haven't even been in the school since they've redone it. It's the same location. It's the same school. They just pretty well gutted it and rebuilt it on the inside and changed a lot of stuff. I understand the old band room is gone. The old choir room is probably gone. I don't know. I'd have to go back and see it. I guess they're doing a tour of it. You're supposed to sign up and go be on a tour of it. It's not that important to me.
Yeah.
I don't think that much about my high school time. I wasn't a star, or anything like that. I was a little scrawny guy. If you looked at my yearbook picture, you'd think I was 12 years old when I graduated, because I was a late bloomer, as they say. But, I'm 67 now, and I don't have any wrinkles.
I know.
So-
I'm looking like you're 45. What's going on here?
With gray hair,
Yeah, well, that's just distinguished.
I guess. But, yeah, I don't think much about my high school time. It was, good. It was a mixture of good and bad, but most people could say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Anyway, we're having fun here today. We've talked about pretty much everything we wanted to cover. Well, one thing we didn't talk about is the major, I think we mentioned this last time, but just a major uptick geologically of earthquakes, volcanoes. And that it's like another thing that's just happening on our Earth that could possibly be an outgrowth of all the bad vibes. I don't know.
I don't know what it is. But yes, Friday we had another small earthquake in this general vicinity. I think it was the 10th or 11th one we've had in this area this year.
This year?
Since January.
Now, didn't you say that there were like 20 last year, and we've had 10 now this year?
That's correct.
Well, we're almost halfway through it, so I guess we're on track.
Yeah, pretty close. What
we're gonna
was
have 20
Friday's date? I don't remember.
The 29th?
Right in there. So
It was the 29th.
Okay, so the 28th, we had an explosion in the Grand Canyon from a pocket of methane.
And that has never happened before?
Never happened before.
And it exploded.
It exploded up out of the sedimentary rock.
But in order for methane to explode, it has to have a flame, a spark, a flame. Something has to set it off.
They're still looking into the cause of the fire, but what they are believing is that the pressure and friction from plate shifting ignited it and gave it access to get out.
I see. Well, that makes sense.
And kaboom.
That makes sense. Yeah. So a lot of that going on. A lot of that going on. I learned a long time ago, I think, that North Carolina has had its share of, let's call them minor earthquakes. We didn't have earthquakes in Florida. We didn't have any of that.
Well, we sit on a fault line,
Yeah.
but I think
Yeah.
it's
Isn't
one
it
of the
right,
ones-
the state line between Tennessee and North Carolina? Isn't that like right on the fault line?
Roughly, yes.
Yeah.
And doesn't it shove up? I think we're sitting on one of the ones where they're coming together.
And pushing.
Yeah, not a
force-
subduction zone. That's where they go down.
Right.
I don't remember what the one where they.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's crazy stuff.
Everybody check your elevations. Make sure you're still the same high as you was yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. Well, what else is happening? Any good news? Any fun stuff? Oh, I know one. One of my favorite TV shows is coming back Friday.
Is that Homestead?
No, it's called Resident Alien. You ever heard of that
Oh
one?
my gosh, he's so funny. That guy's hilarious.
A lot of people don't like him, but I think he's hysterical.
Well, that's because he's a Yankee, you know.
Well, it's coming back Friday at 11 o'clock on the Sci-Fi Channel, and I think it's also going to be showing on Peacock. I'm not sure. But I would not watch it on either one. I don't get Sci-Fi Channel on my current service, and I'm getting ready to ditch that too. You know, I had YouTube TV, and I ditched that for Sling, called Sling Blue, and Sling Blue is $30 less a month, and I was only watching it for one channel.
Oh, I think that your Agenic TV is a live action thing now. Didn't they partner with?
NVIDIA.
Yes. that.
Well, it's one of these kind of subterranean partnerships, meaning it's not like a big deal for NVIDIA. It's a big deal for us and Channel Islands, the company I've been working with for the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. It's a big deal for us because we'll be using their technology to launch our Agentic TV, which is going to change the way people stream television, you know, if it gets adopted. And it's a no-brainer. But they're probably going to be we'll probably be in lawsuits from Netflix and Amazon Prime and everything, just trying to take us to the cleaners on it, because we're not using their technology. We're just using technology that would automatically unsubscribe you from those services if you're not actively watching something on that service.
Yeah.
It will.
And they
cancel-
like all those forgotten accounts.
This AI will automatically cancel your subscription.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure they count on those unused subscriptions for a lot of their income. But yeah, it would be nice if this gets adopted. It's really cutting edge technology for streaming television, which most people, especially in a rural area like this, I imagine a lot of people are streaming. Mm-hmm. Do you stream? Are you streaming at home?
Yeah. Yeah. We got rid of our direct TV. We had it at our place and then at multiple Airbnbs. It's like $4,000 a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Out the door with that. Who needs that?
Well,
and everybody has their own YouTube and Netflix and everything. So when they come in and they just log into their stuff, log out before you leave.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we had YouTube TV. It was that $80 a month, mm-hmm. and then they were going up again. Mm-hmm. And then I heard about Sling Blue. I just use it so I can watch Fox News, and I really only watch 3 programs on Fox News. I watch Gutfeld, I watch The Five, and I watch. They have Saturday Night with Jimmy Fallon now. Mm-hmm. Very funny, very very funny. So Fox went a smart direction with Fox News. They have the comedic element thoroughly infused in there now, not with their their Hannitys and their whatevers, which I don't watch at all. But Gutfeld's very funny. And this Jimmy Fallon is a stand-up comedian. They gave him his own show on Saturday nights. It's very funny. He's a former cab driver, so in portions of the show, he actually drives a cab around in New York City and picks people up. And it's funny. It's very, very funny. I like it a lot. So The Five, Gutfeld, and sometimes I watch Jesse Waters. He can be entertaining sometimes. But now what's happening is Fox is coming out with their own app. Now, they've had an app for a while, but they're coming out with an all-new one that encompasses everything. Fox News, Fox Sports, Fox Nation, which has some great programs on it, if you've ever seen it. And so they're coming out with their own, and I think it's only going to be $30 a month.
Oh, wow.
Which would save me another $20 a month from what I'm paying now. So, and seeing as I don't really use Sling TV for anything except to watch Fox News. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to pay a subscription for CNN and MSNBC. They're just you can see them for free, even streaming, you can see them for free. Fox News is the only one who you got to have a service provider in order to pick them up. Otherwise you can't watch it. And now with their own app and charging their own little price for it, those days are over. So I'll welcome that. There's another new thing out. Have you heard of Kaleidoscape?
No.
Well, this is a real interesting thing. It's all 4K movies. 4K. Now, when you get 4K through streaming, They say, oh, this program's in 4K or whatever. Yeah, it's not really in 4K. It is in 4K, except what they call the bit rate or the bandwidth is really low. So you're not getting the benefit of like if you were playing a 4K Blu-ray or something like that. It doesn't look like that. So what they've done is they came out with a little set-top box, Kaleidoscape, like Kaleidoscope, only with an A instead of an O. And it does show you 4K movies, but they're not streaming. You download the movie to rent it, or you can buy it. But for buying them, it's like $25 to $50 if you want to buy a movie, depending on how current and hot it is, right? But you can rent it for, let's say, $10, and you have a month to watch it. Instead of 48 hours like you do on Amazon, you have like a month to watch it, and it's in actual 4K. And if you have a great TV, like an OLED or a QLED, one of these things that cost thousands of dollars, it does look absolutely amazing. It looks fantastic. You know, I told you we got the 80-inch on Black Friday deal from Walmart for $550. But it's not the cutting edge technology. It looks fine. It looks great to me, and we like the big picture. We like watching the football games and especially, you know, I watch a lot of movies, a lot of old movies. But it's funny because I watch a lot of movies that I haven't seen since I was a kid, or if I did see them again, it was either on a crappy VHS on a 4x3 screen.
Oh yeah.
You know, that quality was just absolutely awful. Absolutely awful.
And distorted because the way the screen would curve and
old cathode ray tubes. Mm-hmm. But there was a lot of things that were causing that to be terrible. First of all, it wasn't what they call progressive scan. It was interlaced. And you could see the comb action. Sometimes you could see the jaggies on people and stuff. And the resolution was only 640 by 480.
Yeah,
and if it was a widescreen movie and they had cut off the sides, you know, or she weren't even getting the complete picture. So now we can stream them in 4K, except it's not 4K, and get the full widescreen. They don't crop them anymore. They give you the black bars on the top and bottom if it's CinemaScope. But you get yourself a big-ass TV and stream them, and I'm telling you, they still look pretty darn good.
Yeah. Pretty
darn good. And it's fine with me. I like the top line state of the art. It's great. But anyway, so Kaleidoscape's doing this thing. And it sounds pretty expensive because you got to buy the hardware and then you got to pay for each movie individually. If you want to watch a movie, it's like $10. And you'll be able to watch that movie for 10 days, or for 30 days. And hey, that's about it. But that's a cool program. And I just learned about that.
Nice.
Just learned about it. But that sounds like something for people who are more wealthy to put their, put their money into something like that. Because there's always the chance that that's not going to work out, and then that company just disappears, and then you're stuck.
Very true. Very true.
They sell all kinds of expensive hardware. They huge like hard drives where you can store all your movies if you buy them, and you can, you can put 1,500 movies on this one, and it's only $900. Yeah, things like that. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm sure I totally misquoted that price, but.
It don't matter.
Well, what do you say we get out of here? We've been on for a long time, just jibber jabbering. You want to go down the rabbit hole here?
Let's do it.
You want to go down the rabbit hole, the Facebook Reels rabbit hole for a few minutes? Oh, look, it's Matty McTech. I love this guy. What's he got today?
Here is a computer trick I guarantee you didn't know. If you're ever not sure your computer's turned on or off, just go to this website, ismycomputeron.com, and I'll let you know. Easy.
This is ridiculous. If you're not sure your computer, aren't you watching this on your computer?
I think that's the point, yeah. But we still have those guys, you know?
Okay, that's funny.
We have those guys.
Now we're talking about kids' drawings if they were real-life animals. That's a squirrel. Is that a camera? Oh, he's just doing it.
Sorry, I can't go to work today. I have a cat on my lap.
Well, you're fired.
That's okay, I have a cat on my lap.
Want to go on a walk?
I have a cat on my lap.
Want to go on a date?
There's a cat on my lap.
The house is on
I
fire.
have a cat on my lap.
We have to run.
As previously stated, I'm incapacitated.
Crispy children sandwich covered in ranacahoo sauce and smothered in crap apple jelly. So bad. Well, what'd you do about it? Well, they said the kitchen hand job's available, so I went to Cheese Limit. When I got there, I parked in the One Nut King parking. She was like, "Did you not see the Puda Kadoo sign?" I was like, nope. Apparently the dress code was a 4-tooth minimum. Well, you should have put your dentures in. No, I should have locked her in the elf storage and then threw some ice in the deep fryer. Well, why you didn't do it? Because I seen a stump for $98 that I really wanted. Then I went and got me a sweet cream and ass snow cone and said, well, reckon I'm gonna head home where the hoe and me come together.
I'm just today years old when I found this out. Did you know instead of going inside the gas station to set a prepaid amount, you can actually just hit the enter key on the keypad and it'll let you type in any preset amount you want? I'm gonna do $10. And now when I press enter, the maximum amount of gas that can be pumped into my car is $10. So I can go and sit in my truck, go inside and get some snacks without any worry of getting too much money charged to my account.
Did you know that?
I did not.
So
I'll have
you
to try that.
As soon as you go there, you hit the enter button. You don't put your card in or anything. You just hit the enter button.
Yeah, let's
and then
try
you can
it.
put in an amount. It's been a good time. Did you have a good time?
I've had a very good time.
All right. Well, then I would entreat you to, say good night, Courtney.
Good, Courtney.
All right.
To all of our friends.
Oh, both of them, right? to both of them who actually watch this podcast. And then with that, we'll say thanks for hanging out with us. And we will see you again next time. Yes?
Yes.